Hey friends, PK Patel and John Matthews coming at you again with another awesome strategies to draw cash off your newly acquired business credit cards. So, what are we talking about today, Johnny?
I think today we're looking at the real estate investor special.
Yes. So, the real estate investor special, guys, is a strategy that I've personally used. Johnny, did you know that I was a full time real estate investor for 4 years?
From YouTube, I know.
Okay, and uh, even before Midwest. In fact, that's actually how we got started figuring out creative ways to finance real estate projects. So I've got a real estate background. You do as well, right? You've been to a few closings with us and you're kind of in the trenches. So from those days, we kind of figured out how to use 0% purchase cards and keep rolling them into rehab projects. So essentially, this is the idea. It's very, very simple. Let's say you have a 0% intro rate, right? But it's on purchases only. So they won't let you do balance transfers, right? It's purchases only. So what do? You use this card for everything, basically, on your rehab project. And for those real estate investors out there, you guys know how expensive things could be. For example, I recently did a kitchen rehab on one of my condos, right? That I'm going to flip. And here's what the before looks like, and here's what the after looks like. So basically, it was a $12,000 job. And I used a 0% business credit card that was offering 0% on purchases. So this particular bank wasn't offering any balance transfers, just purchase. So what I did was I paid for all the materials from Home Depot, right? And I think the materials were like 4,500 bucks. Uh, and then the labor was the rest of it. So I paid for this using this card right here, and the whole $12,000 is good for 12 months. But the rehab only took 4 months, and maybe another 2 months for the property to be on the market, right? For it to sell and for me to get my cash out. So that's a total of 6 months. And when I get my cash out and liquidate this condo, I still have another 6 months left on this 0%, right? So now I don't have to pay this back until 12 months from now before I get hit with interest. So what am I going to do for this additional 6 months? I'm going to roll this into another project. Because when you close on this and sell it to your buyer, you're going to receive a check. So it's essentially cash, which you put into your bank account. So that goes right back into another project. And there's some clients that are so good and they've got this thing down, they could flip this cash. I mean, I do this on a part-time basis, right? I'm not a full-time real estate investor anymore because I'm here at Midwest full-time. So I can only do it 2 times, but there are clients that are doing this, and I'm sure you've experienced it too, that are so efficient at turning projects that they could do it 3 times or 4 times even if they're really, really good. And then it just becomes a game of how many times you could turn the 0% money over and over and make a return on it. Now, some of you guys are watching this and you're like, but Johnny and PK, what if I'm not a real estate investor? What if my business is something else? Then what? So we use a real estate example because number one, it's cash heavy, right? Real estate is expensive. Now, if you're into another business, this money could be used to purchase any kind of an asset, right? Inventory. How many, heck, I've got clients, I'm sure you have too, where they're in a business where they need to purchase inventory, but they could turn that inventory every 30 days. So that means they could turn it 12 times. So they have a greater advantage than a real estate investor because real estate is bulky, right? You can't just liquidate it. It takes time to put it on the MLS, and you got to get a buyer. Maybe you get multiple offers if you're lucky, and you got to go to the title company, and you got to have a formal closing. That takes time, and in this case, since time is your enemy, if you are not in real estate and you could turn inventory quickly, this strategy is your best friend. So, what do you make of this, Johnny? Any additions to this?
So it sounds like what you're talking about in the original example was real estate investor buys a house, uses a credit card to cover the rehab costs, which increases the value of the property.
Yes.
When the value of the property is increased, the investor can either refinance the house to get cash out, or they can sell the property for profit at the higher value and get their cash back. And that cash back would pay off the original loan on the house, plus refund the investor all their cash they had invested off their credit cards. But now instead of the cash being on credit cards, it's cash in the bank account.
Boom.
That they can use to buy another house.
Yep. That's it.
That's clever.
That's it. And one thing I do recommend is if you use this strategy, let's say we're in first week of March, right? So let's say next March 2021 is when your 0% expires. I actually set a calendar reminder for February 1st of 2021 to make sure I pay this card back and come up with the cash, and I have plans to come up with it by February 1st just to be safe and give me a 30-day buffer to get the credit card company their money back so that I don't get dinged with interest. Because essentially, this is a completely free strategy. It's free money. It doesn't cost you any points whatsoever to make purchases and pay using that. I mean, if it's a 0% purchase, you walk into Home Depot, swipe that credit card for $4,500. You have that money to use for 12 months. You pay your contractor with it, swipe it for the remaining amount, and all of a sudden, it's free. So no points, but keep in mind, you don't want to pay the retail interest rate that's associated once the 0% runs out. And that's actually what the banks are banking on that you're going to do, is you're going to not be able to come up with the $12,000 by this time frame, and they're going to be able to charge you 16% interest. But you guys are smarter than that because you've watched this video and you're not going to allow that to happen, right?
That's right. Remember when your 0% periods expire. Record that information somewhere safe.
Yep. And for this strategy, Johnny, that is all I have. It's very simple.
I like it.
Cool. Anything else you want to add?
Let's keep it going.
All right. So, all right, guys, we're done here, and we will see you in the next video.